Always enjoyed catching up with Dustin Long. He writes for SI.com and USA Today and many other outlets. You can find him on Twitter as well, covering NASCAR. We talk about this weekend's race, and we review the Brickyard, who needs some wins, and more with Dustin Long on the Sports Buffet podcast.
Always love catching up with Dustin Long. You can find him writing for the USA Today, SI.com, and many others. Covers NASCAR and a TV star, I believe, because I actually think I was watching the other day a old Sports Century on Tony Stewart, and if I'm not mistaken, Dustin, you popped up on that thing.
Yeah, I did that show, a couple others for ESPN, I guess back in the day, a few years ago, when they were doing some of those profiles of some drivers. So it was kind of a fun thing. I missed it. I guess I was too busy working. I would like to have seen that one again.
Yeah. I'll tweet you next time when I know it's coming on again. But it was very good to see you on that. Let's talk about some current events though, and I'll tell you what, Jimmie Johnson's car at Indy was to say it was very good might be an insult to very good. It was phenomenal. What did you see out of the 48?
Well, I mean, certainly, a dominant performance, leading 99 of 160 laps, and really for the most part, there weren't too many guys that could get close to him. So. The three previous times that he's won at Indianapolis, he's gone on and won the championship. So that could be a good sign for Johnson fans, or an ominous sign for those who don't like the 48. We'll certainly see what happens. Still, a lot of time left before the end of the season, and still 6 races before the chase starts. Still some time for guys to kind of get things together. But certainly Jimmie certainly showed his strength at Indianapolis. Now let's see if they can keep doing it. And I mean, they've been good all year, though. That's the thing. You take away those restrictor plate finishes where they've had some bad luck. This is almost shaping up to be a Jimmie Johnson year. But then again, he's still got to do it in those 10 chase races. So we'll see. And
his garage mate has been doing pretty well too. Junior has only won one race, but I mean, just the consistency of. He hasn't really had that many bad runs, but when it gets to the chase, how much do you think the chase could affect Junior in terms of if he is, kind of the hunter or the hunted going into that thing?
Well, I think that as long as he's got the right focus, I think he'll be okay. Like you said, the consistency, 15 top 10s in so far this season. It's most in NASCAR, tied with his teammate Jimmie Johnson. So that 48-88 shop is certainly dominating the sport to a good degree. Junior's chances, he's going to need to win. And I don't think you're going to see somebody. Every year's different, but I don't know I think your champion's going to need to win at least once. And certainly he may take more than that. But he's got to win. This has been a good summer for him. Typically, the summer's been at times the period where he has not run as well, and he has certainly run very well throughout the summer and been strong. And so I think that gives hope to the junior fans. We'll kind of see what happens. I think he's heading in the right direction. I think Lutard has been in a tight championship battle before with Jeff Gordon. A few years back in racing, Jimmie Johnson didn't win it, but again, that's some experience that maybe Steve can carry over. And certainly that relationship between Dale and Steve seems to be as good as it's ever been.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are we out of Dale Jr.'s normally bad tracks, or do we still have a couple more to go? I can't remember.
Well, Watkins Glen has kind of been up and down. Obviously, he hasn't had a top 10 at Sonoma, but he's had top 10s at Watkins Glen. So Watkins Glen is a little bit better track for him. So getting near the end of the stretch where it's kind of been, he's had some tough finishes, but Pocono this weekend, then the Glen, and then it's back, to Michigan where he won in June, and Bristol where he's had success, and you kind of go from there. So, kind of at the end of that summer stretch, that's kind of given Junior some problems, and he's looked good so far.
Who needs a win before getting into the chase? Maybe even just to make the chase or to keep their spot.
Well, I mean, certainly Carl Edwards does, and the question is, can Carl Edwards win with the new crew chief? Last week at Indianapolis, his first race with Chad Norris after the change with Bob Osborne. Is there enough time? Is there enough time for that team to win? And basically, unless something dramatic happens with the driver in 10th in the points, you're probably going to, if you're outside the top 10, you're going to have to win to get in. Edwards doesn't have a victory. He needs to win. Certainly, Jeff Gordon needs to win it, and looking more and more like he probably needs to win 2 of the last 6. He's been fast, had a lot of bad luck, but I think the odds are longer and longer against him getting into the chase. I talked to Steve Letarte after Indianapolis on Sunday, and asked him about Gordon. He says, look, the thing about Gordon is he can be the streakiest driver out there in the sense of, he has seen, and been a part of where Gordon has won back-to-back and even seen him win back-to-back-to-back races. So, Gordon can do it. The question is, will he do it? And certainly others have, kind of in that jockeying for that wild card spot. Obviously right now, it's Casey Kane with 2 wins and Kyle Busch with 1 win would be the top 2 wild card guys. That means guys like Ryan Newman and Joey Logano need to get another win or need to get better finishes to kind of climb up higher in that wild card race.
Do you see A.J. Allmendinger getting another ride anytime, maybe in the foreseeable future?
Well, I think if A.J. gets another ride in NASCAR, I think it's going to be, he could be like a driver for James Finch. If Kurt Busch gets something and leaves the Finch team, does James Finch look at somebody like Allmendinger and try to make him another reclamation project to try to rebuild him up? Like, kind of what this year is about for Kurt Busch. If not there, then, you're probably looking at, if he's going to stay in Cup, it's probably going to be an underfunded team that's, really going to struggle. And what he's going to have to do then is he's just going to have to get that car in the race, and he's going to have to race as well as he can and show to people that he can wheel the car and that he can put his past behind him. But certainly a lot of questions, and if he's back in NASCAR, it won't be with any type of high-profile ride for sure in the near future.
Final question for you, Dustin. Always love having you on. Look forward to doing it again soon. Give me 3 or 4 names that you would really put some stock in this weekend.
Well, I got to sit down with Mark Martin last weekend in Indianapolis. Sat down in the motor coach with him and talked about a lot of different things. And he's really excited about the way things are going over at Michael Waltrip Racing. Obviously, he's running only a partial schedule. But you have to remember, he nearly won at Pocono in June, finished second. And he told me, that was really the weekend that, he had success with that team early in the season. But really, it was the weekend where he and Rodney Childers, the crew chief, really turned things around, really got the car. Mark was able to really explain what he wanted out of the car. That communication really improved, and they took a lot of that information, went to Michigan the following week. We're running in the top 10 until the engine blew in the final laps, and then has an 11th place finish at Indianapolis, and Mark was fast, early on. So, he's a guy to keep an eye on because he was just so excited, so pumped, not only for Indianapolis, but for going back to Pocono and trying to get that win. Obviously, Pocono was won by Joey Logano, so you keep an eye on him. Denny Hamlin's always a guy you keep an eye on. Hey, maybe Brad Keselowski is another guy to kind of keep an eye on, along with Jimmie Johnson.
Should be a fun race this weekend. Dustin, we know you'll have all the coverage with SI.com, USA Today, and you're all over the place. We'll catch up with you again very soon.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.